Welcome to episode 12. Today, we're going to catch up with Larry and see what he's been up to.
Hi everyone. It's just been amazing, and I'm trying to beat Joe at this weight loss contest. Let the viewers know. And I'm trying to run off. I'm gonna start trying to run off this COVID weight. But yeah, I mean, it's been great. I'm in the last part of school, so I actually only have 12 more weeks. In 2 weeks, I'm going to take Security Plus. I'm gonna take a stab at it for the cert for that one. So we're going to see, and then I'm gonna go back and take just regular MTA security. But yeah, no, it's going great, and I need to do a lot more lab work. So I really want to do an episode on us just in the lab because I think that'd be pretty interesting to people. But yeah, I mean, I've learned a lot since the last time we spoke.
Okay. Now, Larry, looking back on it, someone, let's say they want to get into this. I'm actually talking to someone right now that is listening to the show, and they're like, okay, how do I even get started? So you found this school, right? And this particular school, it's kind of like an accelerated program, right? It's a lot, for someone. But looking back on it, has this been a good experience for you, like doing it the way you're currently doing it?
Yeah. So for me, it's all depends on your passion for it because it does take a lot of work and a lot of time and a lot of giving up certain things that you may love to do if you like to watch movies or you like to go on a run and stuff. I mean, you can do that, but it takes up a lot of time and it's a lot of work. I mean, we have 3 boot camps a week plus two class plus 2 classes. No, actually, we got 4 boot camps a week, 2 classes, and on Saturday morning, that's when you pretty much try to get all your work done, your schoolwork on top of that. So it's demanding, but it's if you have the passion for it. I mean, to me, it's fun. It's a different language. I mean, a total different language. Oh my gosh. I can actually speak IT to Joe now. I couldn't at first. I didn't understand anything. Like if he'd have threw something at me, I'd have been like, "Huh, what's that?" But
All right.
I'm starting to understand. The light bulb is still twitching. But for a new beginner, it all depends on your passion and your time.
Okay.
You
So
know,
if
if
you
you,
so someone's got to have the time, they got to have the passion, and
yeah,
if they have those two things, you know, is this particular school the one you're going to? Is it one that you'd recommend everyone? Do you want to give a shout out to the school or?
yeah. So it's MyComputerCareer, and it's 9 certs in 10 months. So it's a lot, but if you can complete, we say half of the certs, you can always go back. You got another 6 months to go back and take those certs again, and my CC will help you out with that. They have excellent mentors that if you ever need to call and just give you good advice, and then you have our great podcast to listen to too. But
Now, do
but
they, and they give you like practice exams, like practice questions that you could take to help you prepare for the exam, right?
Yeah, we do a lot of stuff yeah, we do a lot of things on Measure Up. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but Measure Up it's great. Um, so you got a lot of practice tests, and then you take one that's actually that you may be seeing like on a Microsoft test if you taking like uh, A plus, or if you're taking MTA security or network. Just the beginning part of it that really helps you out a lot is Measure Up. So Measure Up is a really good tool to use, that we use, and then we use Quizlet, which is pretty good. Um, this mentor that I had named Sean, he has a bunch of cards that you can just read and kind of give you a lot of information. And then I know we use Kahoot. It's kind of a game, but it teaches you while you're learning. So it's pretty good. My CC is actually a really good school, and it has a lot of great teachers and a lot of great mentors. Cindy, how you doing? That's my mentor. I just want to throw a shout out to her. She's listening to it.
Right on. So it totally helps, right? To have community, to have support, to have good mentors and everything. And do they offer any like job placement assistance in this particular school?
Yeah, so they do offer job placement all around the US. So it's just where you want to be and all that. And they start that I think after 6 months. So yeah, so they really help you out with that too, and where you want to go and everything. So I know 50 my class is 113 people from what I gather, and I think 65 or 70 people in my class have jobs already. So I think they do a really, really great job at that. So they're really good. I really like my CC. I'm very, very satisfied with it. But it is a lot of work. Like
Wow.
right after
So
this podcast, I gotta work.
so you're saying that out of the 113, was it that
Yeah.
65 have already been placed into jobs already?
Yeah, yeah, while
That's
they're going to
incredible.
school.
That's pretty good, man. That's really good.
Yeah, so it's pretty good. Yeah, so it's really good. And it's all I think with anything, it's all what you put into it. And
Uh-huh.
I really love the cybersecurity field. But what MyCC does do, and what you told me, and I've heard from like Demetrius and a lot of other of the guests that we had on, is learning those basics. So that's what it really teaches you, those basic fundamental things that you need to know, like in any sport or anything like
Yeah.
that. Just the basics.
You know, it, I love reading about some of the most elite athletes and how did they get to where, how did they achieve greatness, and if you look at Michael Jordan's workout, if you look at Kobe Bryant's workouts, in LeBron James and these guys, I mean, their workouts are just way more intense than anybody else. Like like you said, you get out of it what you put into it. And these guys, these elite athletes, the reason why they perform so amazing in the game, it's not just their, talent, their just sheer God-given talent, but man, they work hard, prior to game time, right? And so I think, would you agree it's just like anything in life, if you work hard and you put in the time, right, you'll get out of it. You'll reap what you sow, like the Bible says, right?
Yeah, yeah. Just like the Bible says. I mean, God blesses those who He blesses the hard worker with a good harvest. And saying that, I mean, I think it's with anything in life. If you it's if you're passionate about it, you will put the work and effort and time into it. And you know, I know I don't know. I'm probably still far off on a lot of things about cybersecurity, but I do have a little foundation. I got an excellent book that Joe gave me too.
Oh yeah, let's talk
that I
about the
do.
book. Yeah, let's talk about the book. So this book, I thought of, so Larry, is an elite coach. That's his background. Prior to that, an elite player, so he's achieved success. And so I found this book that actually draws analogies from football into cybersecurity. So I thought, oh, this is the perfect book for Larry, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What is it called? Oh, it is the Hackers Playbook
Hacker
2
playbook.
or something.
Yeah.
So it's an awesome book, but two, I'm halfway through it. It's a really, really good book. I'm learning a lot just from the book, which is just insane. It just tells me how much more. I mean, I did learn in my CC, they do teach you some Linux, but how much more Linux I got to know. But I do understand the basic parts of it and some command stuff. And
Yeah.
it's a great book, and I recommend that book. Thank you, Joe. Again, I recommend that book for any of the listeners. So Joe, let me ask you a question because I know listeners want to know too. So I know you're when you started off as just regular, like a student in school,
Yeah.
and we're talking in high school, learning about computers and all that stuff. But what was your driving passion to get you going?
It for me, when I was in school, I was playing baseball initially, and I basically found out during the alumni game. I think we may have talked about this on episode 3, that this kind of older alumni guy, probably older than I am now, and back then I was 18, right? And he hit my best fastball. So I kind of realized, like, okay, if this guy can turn on my best pitch, I better figure something else out, and so a light bulb just kind of went off, like, I need a plan. I need a plan, and so while I was going to college, I took night classes in a school very, very similar to the school that you're in. The school that I went to was in Berea, and it was called the Software Education of America, SEA, and
Okay.
very, very similar program, right? And so I was doing that at night while I was going to school during the day, like, traditional college, because I figured, okay, traditional college degree isn't really going to give me a practical, job experience to be able to find a job somewhere. So I was doing that. And sure enough, just like you found your 100 plus teammates or classmates and 65 or whatever have already gotten
Yeah.
careers, I found out that when the employers saw that I had some of these certs on my resume, they didn't even ask me if I was going to college. They didn't even care about the college degree. They knew I had the technical proficiency, and they wanted to give me a shot, and I was like, wow, okay, then. So that was back in 1998 or 1999, and
Wow.
so yeah, over 20 years ago. And so it was really, I was basically doing exactly what you're doing, just studying, just working at it, and then I just spent, probably 4 to 6 hours a day applying to jobs. So that actually was a part-time job, was applying to jobs and just kind of putting it out there, and just trying hard to find someone that was willing to give me a shot. And that's just it. You just need someone that's willing to give you a shot. Um, and I think that can happen randomly, like I was doing, like where you just spray, resumes out. That's one option. But the other option that I think more people generally find is when it's through a network, and it's through the people that that they know someone. And so it's really, going out to your LinkedIn, all your connections, and saying, hey, this is what I'm looking for. Do you know of anyone that might be hiring? And so, usually people are more willing to hire someone of when the people they know can kind of vouch for that person, say, yeah, they're a hard worker,
Right.
person of integrity, character, and that sort of thing. um, Usually I think most people find their first positions kind of that way, from what I hear. But yeah, I find technology really interesting. I find it like a puzzle. I love chess, and to me, technology oftentimes involves problem solving. And so when a computer, program or scenario isn't working, it's like a puzzle. So I enjoy that thinking part of it, but then the human part of it, typically there's a human behind that puzzle that is frustrated. So the end user, that employee that can't get their job done because the computer isn't acting right. I love solving the problem so that I can help that person and kind of make their day better. And that, I'll never forget my first job. I got so much pleasure and joy out of helping people. Like when they were frustrated, someone wasn't working, I got it fixed for them, and it just made their day a little bit better. And so that's a core driving part of me, and I just love helping people. I still do to this day. I love helping people, and
Right.
yeah, so that's kind of one of my big drivers.
So I do have a question, another question. So I know, just like an athlete, you practice your craft on a daily basis. And do you do that with a lab? Do you do that with reading?
Yeah.
Do you do that with a lot of research?
Yeah, so when technology changes at the pace that it's changing today, which I would say every 6 months there's, you know, a curve in technology, like a shift or a disruptive new thing that, it comes out. And so you just have to like desire to like learning. If somebody's listening to this podcast, Larry, and they're like, I just want to like do something that is static and doesn't change, you know maybe being like a park ranger or something, maybe something that there's not a it's like, okay, this is what you do. You go out, you do this and this and this, and it's just some people need that just static stability, right? But if you just are like, if you're an insatiable learner and you love learning and your mind just needs a challenge, constantly. And that's kind of, me, like when I get super bored if everything's the same every day. Like I just couldn't hang. My mind would be
You're
like
not a
going, okay, what do I
routine
got to
person.
do? you know?
Yeah, you're not a person that just likes a routine.
Yeah, I need a challenge. I need a challenge. My mind needs a challenge. And it's, you know, something that just is every day is going to be different. Every day there's going to be a different challenge. I don't know even what to expect. It's just going to be something new and fresh, and it's going to keep me on my toes. That's what I really enjoy. And I think for the most part, most technology careers in IT and security especially, really do require someone that enjoys a new challenge every day. Someone that is like, okay, no matter what's thrown at me, like it's this for football, right? You can study the video of the other team, you can see all the other plays, but they already know that you're going to be studying that video, so they're going to throw new stuff at you because they already know that, okay, if we just ran that same offense at your D, you're going to um, be able to like stop that, right? So they're trying to innovate, and it's just like hackers. Like there's the black hat hackers, the bad guys, and then you got the good guys, the white hats on the other side. They know the tactics, and so the black hat hackers, they're gonna innovate. They're gonna change their tactics and their techniques. They're gonna and so it's basically a battle, right? And that's fun. That's an interesting kind of warfare. Now, of
Right.
course, it can get personal when someone attacks you directly as an individual. So you got to be on your toes. Like I get text messages sometimes on my phone that are clearly hackers trying to basically get around email, because most people get tricked into clicking a phishing link or an attachment, and that's generally how most people get hacked.
Right.
And if you're really really good in cybersecurity, you don't open that stuff. But I think the weak area is if you get a text message, right, and it's got a link or
Right.
something in the text message, that might be a soft spot where you might be more willing to click that or do something there. So you got to be on your toes in all areas of your peripheral world, right? You got to be looking out, on all things.
Yeah,
Um,
so it's so weird that and I don't think a lot of people really realize that we start learning and right now in Security Plus that the cell phone now and text messaging is like a big way. I mean, everybody's like the email, so everybody concentrate on emails. But do you forget about a text message that from a unknown number, or hey, this is such and such, and right when you click on that link, they can take over your cell phone
yeah,
or get all your information.
that's right. That's right. And so you constantly have to keep your phone updated, because those updates are fixing security vulnerabilities that exist. So there was a vulnerability in iOS 12.3, that someone could send you a message, and Larry, you didn't even have to click on the link. They just had to know your phone number. If they sent it to you, they could take over your phone.
Oh
And that
wow.
that's a vulnerability in iOS 12.3. So you had to update to 12.4 immediately. Now most people are way above that now, but if people are
Right.
not updating their phones, their phones can get hijacked, and their phone typically has their email. It has banking apps sometimes that has all kinds of
It
information
has
on it, right?
everything, has their life on it. So Joe, that was very, very interesting that you brought that up about the cell phone and updating your phone because before I start really studying about start learning about IT and things like that and um, and I was still in love with learning about how to be in cybersecurity. I worked at AT&T and I worked where we sold cell phones and about 85% of the customers did not want to update their phones because they thought it was just such a hassle.
Hmm.
So in saying that, a lot of people I don't know how it is, and that was maybe 3 years ago. So I don't know how it is today, but I can imagine maybe 60 to 65% of the people don't even update their phones. They'd be like, "Oh man, this update it sucks," but they don't understand that those patches that they're putting in there is just for what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think, security is only as good as your weakest user at your organization. And, um, you know, people are, if we're relying on them, to update their personal phone, if your company allows people to use their personal phones to connect to work, and you're relying on that person to update their phone security software, that kind of tells you that that's the next major target for hackers, because vulnerabilities in phone software, you can buy the exploits on the dark marketplaces. I think it's like $1 million per exploit, because it's not easy to write those exploits, and so they're for sale for, typically governments are buying these things to spy on, their citizens or defectors and human rights activists and that sort of thing. So if somebody has enough money, they can buy an exploit to basically hack into your phone. And so, again, if companies are allowing their people to use their personal phones, which most do to cut down costs, then the
Hmm.
trade-off with that is that they have to recognize that those phones can get compromised if someone's willing to pay enough money.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And I guarantee you a lot of our listeners don't oh well they probably know it, but it's maybe some that really don't understand. And as we're learning in class, it's mainly the users that really don't think that an attacker will attack just them. I think that's a, a big thing too. Like, oh, not my phone. Well, why would they want to attack me? I always feel that that what I'm learning now is uh, that a hacker is pretty much you're on their radar. You might not be on the top list of their radar, but you can be on their radar.
So let's
And
talk
when they
about
get,
that. Yeah, let's talk about that for a minute. So you're right. People probably think, unless they're super paranoid, they probably think, okay, who am I? An attacker, they're not going to worry about me. They're going to go after some CEO or some powerful person. But if you work for that CEO, right? And if you're at that same company, or let's say your brother-in-law or your relative works at that company, hackers do their homework. They go on LinkedIn, Larry, and they see who you're connected to, and they go, okay, if I could just get Larry, then I could send an email as Larry to his cousin, who's this like super high profile person over here. So the mind of the hacker is taking over someone's phone, typically for the purpose of something else, some larger campaign that they're working on. And people don't realize that because of their relationships, they could be a target because of who they know or who they work for. And okay, so that's one scenario. Scenario two, Larry, is that hackers tend to do a spray, and a spray is basically a non-discriminate, just broad attack across everybody, and then whoever happens to open it, they can send ransomware down there, and a typical device is worth about, someone's willing to pay on average about $700 for a ransom to recover their data. So I'll just, we'll test this out with you as an example. Let's say, Larry, all of your photos and all of your memories and all your important stuff was on a computer, and someone put ransomware on there and you couldn't get it because you forgot to back it up. So would you pay $700 to get all your data from your entire life and all your photos, your kids and family? Is $700 worth it, or are you okay to lose all those memories for the rest of your life, right? People are typically willing to pay that $700. So what an
right.
attacker will do is they'll spray that randomly to 10,000 people. And can you imagine if 10,000 people paid $700 each?
Oh wow, yeah,
I mean, that's
that's a lot
seven.
of
That's
money.
seven. That's $7 million.
Wow.
So that's that's some pretty good. That's some pretty good return on their time if they click one button, they send an email to 10,000 people. And if a lot of those people, you know, click that link or open that attachment and they get ransomware, if they weren't backing up their files, then they have a choice. Either I lose all those files forever or I pay the $700. So that's called a spray attack. So number one is an influence attack based on, they're going to target you based on who you know, your relatives, who you work for. Hack number two is a spray attack where it's indiscriminate, but they're going to make a lot of money off of it. So people need to realize, back to your point, if they're thinking I'm not a target, they don't realize that they could be an indiscriminate, just a spray target, or that it could be someone that they know or work for, right? So
Exactly.
people got to be on
Exactly. Yeah.
guard.
I mean, so I don't know if you remember, I think maybe it was about 3 weeks ago, I told you that my cousin's Instagram had got attacked. And how the attacker did it, he cloned my cousin's Instagram. And it was exact picture. So when you clicked on my cousin's when you clicked on the attacker's link, he had all his pictures, everything. So you would think, well, hey, Larry, that's your cousin. So, and as when he texted me on Instagram, he started asking me for money. And I thought that that was weird because this is a cousin that, my cousin Robert, that would never ever ask me for money, or he would just call me. So then I just asked the attacker. I said, "Well, hey, well, how's Uncle Willie doing?" He was like, "Oh, he's okay." So, did you see him last week? And he was like, "Oh yeah." So I knew he was an attacker. So I reported it to Instagram right away, and I let my cousin know too that his account has been that his account was hacked. But in saying that, that's just how quick, how smart the hackers are nowadays, which is incredible. I didn't know that they can actually clone somebody's site. I mean, everything from the pictures to everything. It was pretty incredible, and I was like, whoa.
So I just read this article from this website called welivesecurity.com. This guy basically clones his Instagram page. And then what he does is he follows 30 of his friends to see who would follow them back.
Yeah.
And 13 of them followed him back on the same day. And they just assumed it was the same person.
But that, I mean, so social media, that just tells you that's another outlet to where, and hackers are getting so smart, they're not sending like, hey, this is such and such from Africa or from Indonesia. They'll clone one of your family members or someone that's a friend of yours on their website. I mean, they'll clone them and actually send you an email. And I see why you're saying like every 6 months the technology, and reading that the technology is changing, because hackers are criminals. So a criminal, they're thinking of new tactics, the new ways of how to get access to people's money or just their accounts and stuff like that. So as technology changes, our awareness has to change, and so I do understand that this field just grows and the technology grows so much that it's just everything's at a warp speed sometimes.
Yeah, so I read through that article, Larry, and it basically said the way
Yeah,
that you can protect yourself is if you make your social media accounts private, because then a random hacker can't clone your page. They can't see all your pictures and your friends and who you follow. So what you have to do is you have to
right,
go into your social media accounts, make them private so that random people can't follow you.
right. Oh, okay. And that's on any social media
Yep.
that you do have.
Yep. So
Okay.
there's a little bit of a trade-off there. It means that it's going to be a little bit harder for new friends to connect with you. But the assumption is I'm assuming all the people you really probably care about are already connected with you on your social media things, right? So
Exactly.
that's what this article is saying is, go ahead and switch those to private accounts, and then hackers can't clone your account. let's get back to you. So you said 12 or 13 weeks left.
Yeah, I have 12 weeks left. Yay! So I'll be done with school, and hopefully I'll start working at a company. God willing, I got a feeling I am, and then I'm going to continue my studies. I want to get some more security certs and stuff like that. You know, what I mean, I got to still develop. I would love to become a test penetrator. That's one of my dreams. But I think I like forensics too. I don't know. I like forensics too. I like that part of it. So,
Yeah, that's pretty fun. Yeah, to
yeah. But I would love. I mean, just to go through hard disk and
mhm.
just go through someone's computer and just find out all the sites they want to go through the registry and just be like, okay, this, and oh man, that'll be awesome. To all the listeners, you guys are awesome. If you have any questions or anything, you can always write us on LinkedIn or something like that.
Absolutely.
Thank you, all the listeners. Thank you guys, and yeah, see you
All right.
guys next week.
All right. See you, Larry.
See
Have a
you
good
later.
one. Talk to you
All right.
soon. Bye.